India has lashed out at Pakistan at the United Nations for referring to groups inside its own border as Fitna Al-Hindustan. Speaking at United Nations Security Council, it's India's permanent representative to the UN who lashed out at Pakistan. This is over its decision as officially sponsored misinformation and disinformation dressed in religious terminology. Well, those were the words of the ambassador. According to Pakistani media reports, the federal government of Pakistan officially designated all terror groups operating in Balochistan province as Fitna Al-Hindustan last year. Now, this means that these terror outfits have been operating at India's behest. The Indian envoy also called it an outcome of an organized factory of hate coming from the deep state of Pakistan. He also added that Islamabad aims to keep their citizens in a state of permanent hostility with New Delhi in order to perpetuate their stay in power and control of natural resources. All right, so these are the remarks that came in from the Indian envoy who lashed out at Pakistan over cross-border terror, and this is specifically relating to terror outfits. The term that's been used by the Pakistan media, this is according to Pakistan media reports, that the federal government of Pakistan has officially designated all terror groups approaching in Balochistan province as Fitna Al-Hindustan last year. So this essentially means that these terror outfits have been operating at India's behest is what the terminology that's been used by the Pakistan government actually means, something which has been raked up by the Indian envoy at the United Nations. Specifically referring to this particular term, the Indian envoy called it an outcome of an organized factory of hate coming from deep state of Pakistan. He also added that Islamabad aims to keep their citizens in a state of permanent hostility with New Delhi in order to perpetuate their stay in power and even control of natural resources. Let's go across to my colleague who's joining us on the broadcast, WION's Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant, joining us live. Siddhant, not the first time that India has shown mirror to Pakistan at the United Nations, be it on the issue of persecution of minorities and even cross-border terror for that matter. But talk to us particularly about this terminology that was raked up by the Indian envoy at the United Nations.
Well, basically, Pakistan has been indulging in propaganda against India, and that's not something new. And essentially, the Indian side countered it, pointing out that how the Pakistani deep state has been involved in that, but also exposing Pakistan in many ways, whether it is the attacks against civilians in Afghanistan, whether it is blocking trade and transit, using the term trade and transit terrorism by Pakistan against Afghanistan, was also highlighting India's positive role in Afghanistan in terms of education, in terms of humanitarian support, medical supplies, healthcare. India plans to build a hospital in the country, and also in terms of business with the visas being given gratis to Afghan businesses. Now, we know that while India has been constructively playing an important role in Afghanistan, Pakistan, as always, is the destabilizing factor in the region, whether it's India with cross-border terrorism or whether it's Afghanistan, where in the recent strike, the Pakistanis killed women, children, and even cricketers as well. And this is something that India has been highlighting. In fact, not just Afghanistan, but also currently situation in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir has deteriorated with killing of over 10 people in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir over the weekend. But essentially at the UN, India highlighting the double standards and hypocrisy of Islamabad when it comes to saying that it plays an important role of a peacemaker, something that have no takers, at least in the region.